Hi, James. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm here, not really here, outside the bridge, the bridge,
Our pride, our heritage.
the only thing in the whole of Teesside. Um, can you introduce yourself and tell me a bit about your work in the creative arts?
Okay, my name's James Harris. I live in Middlesbrough. I've lived here for about 10 to 12 years now. And I've done all sorts in terms of creative arts. Bit of drawing, bit of acting, bit of filmmaking, bit of live comedy, bit of music. And currently where that's led me to is to become an author, at least for the next couple of years anyhow, a children's author. So that's been my journey so far.
Brilliant. So, is this move into being a children's author? Are you writing for your own kid, do you think?
No, I started writing before I knew we'd be having children. So, I mean, hopefully you'll like them. I'm writing for a 9 to 11 age group. I got a publishing deal via New Writing North, their Northern Writers Awards, a couple of years ago. So the first book will be out in April. So very exciting.
Brilliant. So what kind of genre? I mean, obviously children's, but
Children's comedy, fantasy fiction, I think. A little bit anarchic, a little bit fantasy, a little bit Stranger Things, a little bit daft.
nice. Liking the sound of that.
Yeah, a little bit punk rock.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, well, yeah. We're gonna have to.
Available to pre-order.
Well, if it's out next year, I mean, my little lad's going to be just at the right age for it, so maybe.
Excellent. Well, I mean, any given time you go into Waterstones, I'm sure I'll be in there behind a little desk with a pile of them.
Terrific, terrific. Yeah, I mean, actually, the even the non-independent bookshops around Teesside seem to be quite welcoming and embracing of local authors, which is good.
Yeah, they are, and I mean, hopefully, I'll be able to do something with Drake in Stockton and the Book Corner in Saltburn as well. It's a shame we don't really have, like in Middlesbrough, it's one of the gaps, I think. I mean, Waterstones is grand, but it'd be nice to have a proper little independent bookshop here.
Yeah, I mean, that's been something that I've been thinking about, and with all the space that there is down at the auxiliary, I was thinking that would be a perfect place, even if it's like solely for local writers. Anything that's
Yeah,
published in Teesside, you could easily stock down there. You can even have an honesty box, and
yeah.
that would be a nice thing to do.
The other thing we don't have really is a second-hand bookshop, and people have tried over the years I've been here, but it's a glaring sort of gap, I think, in Middlesbrough. So that's how I sort of grew to love books, was a little second-hand bookshop in Saltburn. Used to love going there and sort of sifting through the kids' books and spending 10p on a Tarzan annual or whatever. So we've got charity shops, but it's not really the same.
Yeah, I've started a kind of little library down there of my own, just because I've got so many books everywhere.
Yeah.
So of my poetry books, my art books, all my theory books, all that kind of stuff is already down there. So maybe that's again something that we can.
Yeah, definitely.
I've probably got enough books myself just to keep it going for the first year or so. It's so hard to get rid of books.
It's impossible to get rid of books.
Yes, I think
boxes of them.
Absolutely. So, have you always been involved in the arts? Did you come from a creative background?
Not particularly. I was always fascinated by it, and I'd say the first things I guess I would have done would have been drawing and making little comic strips and little books of my own with friends. But I guess, I mean, I grew up in the 70s. I grew up in Teesside, and I did not know that you were allowed to, like, I wouldn't say I've ever really made a career out of it, but I just didn't know it was ever meant or allowed to be anything more than a hobby that you would show 2 or 3 people anything that you made. So I didn't know you were allowed to make films. I didn't know you were allowed to be in a band. So none of those were ambitions of mine. But I guess I was lucky in that I came of age in the 80s, and the sort of alternative comedy boom happened. And they became like my rock stars and pop stars, sort of the comic strip and the young ones. and all that generation of comedians. But even then, like that, so that gave me a little impetus to, I wanted to stand on stage and make people laugh. But I didn't know I could be a comedian. I didn't know, that again, that there was any paths to doing that sort of stuff. I just sort of, I got into it, but didn't realize that you could do it. And I think it was being in a band. And I didn't start learning any instruments until I was sort of 18, 19. We started a band, and then we all started to learn how to play. And that's when you started to realize, all right, if you're in a band, then you're going to need gigs. So then you have to go to a pub and then start organizing, and then you just have to do it yourself. And you can borrow like equipment or musical instruments. And then there's other people doing bands. And maybe if you start doing stuff, more bands will look at you and think, oh, well, we can do that too. And the idea of if the scene doesn't exist, you start getting an inkling that you can start something, you can create something, and you can almost create something by being really enthusiastic, but not that good at what you do, because other people look at it and go, well, geez, if they're doing it, there's absolutely no reason why I can't do it. So all the time I was in a band, I was encouraging other people that, you don't need to know how to play. You just need to have some friends and make a noise, and you will learn to play the things that you want to play. And then getting into comedy, like my mission was to get other people to sort of just stand on stage and do something funny. That you can do it. It's confidence first, then comes the craft, and that's been the same with everything I've done. Really, I've enjoyed doing it, and then I've wanted other people to enjoy doing it as well.
That's absolutely brilliant. Very much the same for me, really. Just going out and doing stuff and making as much of a fool of myself as possible, in the hope that other people will be less embarrassed about potentially making a fool of themselves too.
And you never know which foolish thing is going to catch on or might lead to some other foolish adventure as well. The more of this stuff that you can do, and the more that you can have the confidence to show other people and do in front of other people, it can open doors sort of years down the line to other opportunities to do other foolish things. As I say, I would never recommend it as a career path, especially not around here. But it's not about a career. I think it's about keeping yourself sane and expressing yourself and making sure that, it's that thing of living life to the full. And for some people, living life to the full is running 30 miles every day or being able to lift things with their stomach. But for me, it's standing in front of people and saying, we've made this. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you make something too.
Great, yeah. And quite interestingly, actually, what I have noticed in these interviews is that people of our generation have that kind of attitude of, I've certainly never sought to make it my main source of income. And was certainly, told by my parents, like, well, went to secretarial school and got help pay the mortgage.
There was never any chance that I was going to go to drama school. No, I would go and do business studies somewhere, whatever business studies was. That's what I would do, and then I would do some business. My life sort of got a little bit sidetracked for a while, where I tried to work out why am I at Huddersfield Polytechnic doing business studies? I don't understand it. I don't know why I'm here. So I'm not going. It does
seem that like the people that have come after us, I guess because their parents have been in the same situation as us, a lot of the younger people I've been interviewing, they have been quite encouraged by their parents to arts. They do see that it's something that they can make their living from doing, and I guess nowadays it's like what a job within the creative industries is a lot wider than it used to be.
Definitely.
So good for them. They, who knows what will happen if that's how they're geared up right from the start.
Yeah, I mean, I've been dead lucky because, like, from what I started doing, and I started making comedy films, sort of early 2000s. And from doing that, and I managed to get a job doing some theatre education as well, going around schools, like Legs Akimbo. But that move from then, suddenly, that it has been my career. Like every penny I've made since then has been because of making stuff, doing stuff, and then you realize that there were jobs out there you had no clue. Like my primary income at the moment is doing drama-based training for industry. And I'm doing that because one of the fellas who runs the company, I did amateur dramatics with in Saltburn back in the 90s. And, you know, completely forgot about that connection, but he didn't. And when his company needed more people about 5, 6, 7 years ago, he sort of just contacted me because he remembered me. And so suddenly everything you put out there, doesn't matter whether it was for cash, for fun, for whatever, you're making ripples, you're making connections, you're sort of, yeah, inspiring isn't really the word, but just showing that you can do this and that you have a certain set of skills, I guess, that actually, if you wanted to put them in a CV and say, you know, I'm this, I'm self-motivated, I work well as a team, I work well under my own initiative, but all this creative stuff is exactly that. It's just I have no interest in having a job. That's the issue. I don't have a CV.
Yeah. Let's hope you never need it now. I mean,
yeah, fingers crossed.
well on your way. You've kind of bambled your way into a career in the arts.
So yeah, just bumbled along.
Have you ever had any kind of formal training or education in any of the arts? You just
not a thing. I mean, it'd be nice if I had. But there's been like occasions where I've been out making short films. Or at one time, because I wanted to do something, I wanted to make short films, but none of my friends were available that afternoon. So I had a little think, and I made a little cardboard puppet of Nostradamus and made like 6 really short, really stupid Nostradamus jokes and filmed them and put them online. And then somebody from the BBC had seen them, asked me, wow, how did you get that cardboard effect? I was like, well, I used cardboard. it's not done by computers. Then they asked, well, look, we're doing this new BBC animation. Are you an animator? And I didn't have any money at that point. And they mentioned something about £1,000 a minute. So I just said, yeah. And that would never have happened. I mean, I am not an animator, and it turned out we all learned that I wasn't an animator, but they learned that after they paid me £6,000 at a time when I really needed £6,000. And I learned some little bits and bobs of animation, but the main thing I learned was I'm not an animator and I can't animate. But I would never have been given the offer if I hadn't been bored one afternoon and made something. And who knows, I might have been good at animation. I mean, how amazing would that have been? It just turns out I wasn't. And we all learned something. But you know, that's part of the sort of the adventure. I don't know whether that's still. I don't know whether that sort of thing is still possible, because at the time the internet was still like seen as this great opportunity to democratize art and to democratize the voice of the people. And I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore, unless you want to talk about makeup or dance to some pop music. That seems to be the main thing that the internet's for.
No. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Although, I mean, the kids are on TikTok, they're actually highly political these days, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. That's true enough, and it's all there. But I think the issue there is it's all focused on one corporation's platform, which back in the old days of the internet, it was highways and byways, it was GeoCities and Alta Vista, and everything was nicely spread out. And now it's all concentrated on platforms, and you create to the terms of the platform, which, I don't know, as a creative person, you know that like restrictions in many ways can enhance creativity as much as they can sort of rein it in. But I think something's been lost along the way. But then things are always lost, things are gained, and it's all good.
Yeah, I kind of feel like something's going to happen in the next few years. There's sort of, you know, there's so many mutterings about, oh, we should be, you know, we should not be giving these people all our money and all of our
IP, our precious IP.
but we shall see. So lockdown, has that affected your work? Have you still managed to produce stuff?
It's been ideal for some parts of what I do. Like, I was able to write another sort of pitch a book, sell it, write it, and sort of I'll be rewriting, doing edits and whatever soonish. So that part of it barely affected, although I do like to go out and sit in cafes and stuff when I'm writing, and that's not been possible. What I'm missing, and what is really important to me as for my practice, is like, it's great, I've written what is in theory a funny book, but I will not be there when people are reading it. And what I only do this for the laughs. I literally do it for the chuckles, but not my chuckles, other people's chuckles. It's like, look what I did, Daddy, kind of thing. And so I haven't been able to do live comedy, and I miss it very much indeed. I miss standing on stage with friends, working really hard, visibly working hard, making it look difficult, but trying to make a room full of people laugh. And that's just impossible at the moment. I entertained briefly the notion of doing film stuff, and it's just too much. Again, you're not there when people are watching it. That's the bit that lockdown has ruined, the live connection. Or going to see comedy as well, and going to see bands, going to see music. It's just like live streaming. It's lovely and it has its place, but there's a reason why it wasn't like viable when we were able to go into a room and actually see people doing stuff. You miss that connection. So that's the bit that lockdown has knacked for me.
Yeah, absolutely, couldn't agree more. But I do feel, you know, whatever happens with vaccines and all of that next year, and they talk it's going to be a long time, whatever, I just think we know enough now to know that outside is fine. And so really that's my intention. I've got this like wheelable PA with a 6-hour charge, any outside space, just rock up and stuff, and get back to that, as you say, that immediacy of human interaction, which is an utter delight. And you know how you talk about all for that, you know, I can't think that there's any really more higher purpose on earth than trying to generate laughter.
It's yeah, I don't know what it is. It feeds something very basic and primal in me. It's just, for whatever reason, I am missing something in my makeup that needs to be filled with titting about in front of people.
Absolutely. It's yeah, I think much the same here. James, it's been lovely to talk to you.
Thanks, Lisa. It's been brilliant.
I found out far more about your work than I knew already. And yeah, I'm hoping to have a massive party for all the interviewees at the end of this.
God, any sort of party, come on.
So yeah, well, you know, I just think the auxiliary 11,000 square foot, if anywhere we can put something on, whatever the conditions is.
Yeah.
There. I look forward to meeting you in person.
It must happen soon.
Toodles.
See you, Lisa.